Imagine waking up tomorrow and seeing the price of your morning coffee, gas, or groceries jump 10%, 20%, or even 50% overnight. No warning, no explanation, just inflation on steroids. You might think it's a random price hike or just some evil corporations trying to get richer, right? Well, what if I told you this price hike could be the direct result of something that's supposed to be good for the economy? Tariffs. But in reality, they're a hidden tax that makes you pay more, while politicians are quick to blame others for the pain. Before we continue, if you're loving the content and want to take things to the next level, why not consider joining the channel? As a member, you'll unlock some seriously awesome perks. We're talking exclusive badges, emojis to flex in the comments, sneak peeks of upcoming videos, and even special shoutouts during the show. Plus, you'll be directly supporting the channel so I can keep bringing you the best content possible. Just hit that join button below and take your seat among the legends. And hey, if you're not ready to join, no worries. Your likes, comments, and shares still mean the world to me. Thanks for being here and know that you are appreciated. Now let's keep this party going. Now let's break it down a bit more. Tariffs are taxes that a country places on imports, products brought in from another country. These taxes are often marketed as a way to protect local industries, create jobs, and make foreign goods more expensive. But here's the catch. When you impose tariffs on a product, let's say cars from Japan, electronics from China, or even food from Canada, what happens is that those businesses importing these goods are forced to pay the tax. And guess who they pass that cost on to? You, the consumer. So, if a bottle of maple syrup costs $1 and a 10% tariff is added, the price goes up by 10 cents. Not a huge deal, right? But when you add up all the goods, gas, appliances, food, clothing, the cost starts to add up fast. Your paycheck doesn't go further, and suddenly, everything feels more expensive. Politicians love to sell tariffs as a win for the country. Remember when Trump imposed tariffs on China and said, "We're going to make China pay"? What he didn't mention is that the American people were the ones footing the bill. This is classic misdirection. Politicians paint tariffs as a way of standing up for the country. But here's the problem. It's often you who end up losing. When the price of goods rises because of tariffs, your purchasing power drops. It's the middle and lower classes who feel it the most because they're the ones who buy everyday items. And let's not forget about the businesses themselves. Importers are charged these tariffs up front. If you're importing a product that costs $100 to get here, and there's a 20% tariff on it, now you're paying an extra $20 before you can even sell the product. What happens next? They pass that cost on to you, the consumer. This is not just an American problem. Around the world, countries have used tariffs, and the results are often the same. Higher prices for everyone. Take the U.S. China trade war, for example. When President Trump imposed tariffs on China's imports, the price of everything from electronics to toys went up in the U.S. While the government claimed these tariffs would hurt China, what really happened was the U.S. consumer saw prices rise, and U.S. businesses took the hit too. As economist Michael Pettis at Peking University says, tariffs often turn into taxes on consumers rather than the foreign producers. It's an economic lesson that history continues to teach us, but politicians often don't want to hear it. Then there's the European Union, which has its own common external tariff, which it applies to goods imported from outside the EU. While this policy was designed to protect European industries, it has led to higher costs for everyday goods. Even the price of imported coffee, electronics, and clothing has risen because of tariffs. Economist Fredrik Erixon, director of the European Center for International Political Economy, argues that tariffs can distort the market, drive up costs, and often do more harm than good. If even developed nations like the EU are seeing negative consequences, imagine the impact on countries with weaker economies. India's tariff on solar panel imports is another telling example. In an effort to protect its domestic solar panel manufacturers, India imposed tariffs on cheap Chinese imports. The result? Higher costs for solar energy projects, ultimately making clean energy less affordable for Indian consumers and businesses alike. Experts argue that while tariffs might protect some jobs in specific sectors, they end up hurting the broader economy. Raghuram Rajan, former governor of the Reserve Bank of India, notes that short-term protectionism often leads to long-term costs in efficiency and economic growth. It's not just America that plays these games. Take South Africa, for instance. After a disastrous budget announcement, the ANC was quick to blame the rand for the country's economic woes. They even had the audacity to say the rand was racist. Yes, the currency, the thing that's printed with Nelson Mandela's face, was suddenly at fault for the country's problems. You've got to love the irony, right? The same currency that represents freedom and unity for the country, now being labeled racist. It's a classic example of deflection, where the government points the finger at something else to avoid taking responsibility for their own economic mismanagement. If you study history, you'll see that tariffs have a long track record of causing trouble. During the Great Depression in the 1930s, the U.S. imposed tariffs through the Smoot-Hawley Act to protect American industries. But what happened? Other countries retaliated and global trade slowed down. It only made things worse. In fact, global trade volume plummeted by around 60% during the Great Depression, largely due to protectionist policies like tariffs. So while politicians may claim tariffs are meant to protect jobs, the truth is that these policies often end up creating economic harm. Let's be real for a moment. Tariffs are a regressive tax. That means they hit the poor the hardest. The wealthier people can absorb the higher prices, but for working-class families, every cent counts. So when politicians tell you tariffs are going to save the economy, just remember, they're making your groceries, your gas, and your bills more expensive. And that's the dirty little secret behind tariffs. The working class is paying the price for policies meant to look good on paper but fail in practice. So the next time a politician tells you they're slapping tariffs on foreign goods to protect your job or boost the economy, ask yourself, who's really paying for this? Because it's not China, it's not the foreigners, it's you. We need to hold politicians accountable. It's time we stop getting tricked by the economic shell games they play and start demanding better solutions. Because in the end, the truth is simple. Tariffs are just a fancy name for taxes, and we all end up paying. If you found this video eye-opening, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Drop a comment below and tell me, how do you think tariffs affect your everyday life? Thanks for watching. See you next time.